Charging into the fray again, guys. It's a Monday night. We're going to do some game design. We're working on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, updating the 2024 mechanics to utilize the color mana system from Magic the Gathering instead of the Vancian spell slots and 8 schools of Magic that's standard for Dungeons & Dragons. So Wizards owns both Magic the Gathering and D&D, but they are very cautious about crossing their streams. As a couture designer, as a third-party publisher, I have no such limitations, and so I can play as I please. So give me a second here. I'm going to check in on my signal, make sure that I'm coming through clear. I'm going to do some social media posts just to alert that we've gone live. That'll only take a minute here, and then we'll get to work for a few hours. So. Looks like the signal's good, so cool. And I'm going to grab my link here real fast and do social media posting here just to announce, because we don't know what the link is to the live stream until we go live. So that's why you typically see those countdowns, because the moderators or whoever is scrambling to get the post up that we're live while that countdown occurs. But I'm not so sophisticated. I just bear my ass here for everybody and just go through all the motions with y'all. So just to entertain you while I go through that process, I'll say, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994, a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. I got started specifically because Wizards started importing Magic the Gathering ideas into D&D in the form of the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica setting, Odyssey's of Theros setting, and Strixhaven Curriculum and Chaos setting. But they left all of it in the Vancian spell slots and 8 schools of Magic system, which strips out all the awesome flavor from Magic the Gathering. And it's so easy to do it in D&D. It staggers me that I'm the guy that did it. So I am blessed and thankful to everybody that's been in support of this project. I'll stop whinging here and get started. So again, just huge thanks to everybody that's interested in the color mana system with D&D and RPGs in general. If you think today is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. Here's the entire stack of color mana system stuff that we've done on the DMsGuild already. All these things are free preview, so you can check them out. If you think they're cool, consider picking it up and running a game with them. And I ran multiple campaigns from level 1 to 20 utilizing this system. It works pretty good. So, but 2024 rules are different, so we're updating them. So this is part of that process. The document that we're using here is a Google Doc. It'll be a read-only document here for you, but the entire document is available for you guys to use. And what is now 14 character classes, they're all they're all out there for you. Level 1 to 20, it's all here. So I'm gonna actually pull this window out separately here and drop it down so we can keep an eye and reference for it separately. There. And then we've got, here's the document that we just popped open. We're going to open this up in a separate window as well, because we're going to work on the fighter today. So for those that are not yet familiar with the system and you're into 5e, get familiar with it. It's really cool. All the martial classes, as in like the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, the rogue, as well as options for paladin, ranger, artificer, warlock. These classes are built with a mana system in a half-casting scaffold from level 1 to 20. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 is when you gain additional ranks of power. We gain mana on a short rest, much like a monk, but we also have this action economy that we can expend to generate temporary mana that can be spent on the turn that you generate it. So if you want to sacrifice your bonus action, depending on your level, you can gain additional mana to then spend. If you would sacrifice attacks during your attack action, you gain mana there as well. You can gain mana off of reactions. Like if you burn your reaction, you can get mana on or off your turn. So there's a lot of different ways for you to generate free mana that compensates so that you have so little of it. basically what that results in is these martial characters can't burst. They can't Nova burst like a full caster can, but they can sustain themselves. They can use they can spend mana literally every turn and have their action economy pay for that mana. So their stuff is low key simmer and just sustained versus the Nova impact power of full casters. So you have like those two lanes, which is the traditional two lanes that the classes have always supposed to been. It's always been narrated as the full casters can do super cool stuff, but they're really limited on how much they can do, while the martial characters can just, whatever they do, they can just do it all day. Well, utilizing this mana system and action economy to generate it, you literally can just go all day. So it actually fulfills that what is actually a false narrative, like being able to swing your sword for D8 plus 5 damage every round. That's not really keeping up with the martials with the full casters that can also just throw cantrips every round. So you have to be able to scale martials past what cantrips can do per round. Otherwise, martials are just failing. And so far, 5e24 has been taking steps in the right direction, but this is going to actually get us there. And plus, it uses the color magic system, so if you are an MTG enthusiast, super fun. So we've been diving through the document. We've ran multiple playtests on this, and at this point we're just refining it, finding like what powers aren't working correctly, what subclass features aren't working correctly with mechanics. What do we need to do to smooth it out, make it easier to use, make it something that people would want to implement if they're playing an MTG campaign with their D&D. So we've gone through, we've processed the powers multiple times. We just modified some this weekend after our most recent playtesting. Thanks so much to the team, especially Nightmare Warden or Rill over on Dice Size channel for having so much conversation time with me and discourse. Foxy as well, Even Snare, Uchi. You guys are just absolutely killing it with me, so thank you. So we're dropping down to the martial power characters. We have the full scaffold reconfigured and built to utilize the mana system, and all the class features are updated and revised so that they work the way that 5e24 Player's Handbook works, modified with these mana options. So it's fully and comprehensive. This is all going to be on the DMsGuild when it's finished, and it'll all be free preview. Once we have it out there, I'll start doing niche stuff, interesting little tidbits that might not want, like a Dimir Assassin, for example, could make a really cool kit, but probably wouldn't be worth publishing on the DMsGuild. So I'll be putting stuff like that up on my Patreon, which is also linked down below. So we've completely finished the Barbarian, at least for the time being, until we play test it some more and find something that needs to change. But all the language is updated, all the mechanics work. It's utilizing the system well, and it's not breaking anything. So Barbarians are looking really sweet at this point. Last time we were here, which was on Friday, we were diving through the fighter. We have the scaffold for the base fighter class, also revised and completed, up to date. And now we've gone through the 4 archetypes that are actually listed in the 5e24 Player's Handbook. And now we're going down into what we would refer lovingly to as the Forsaken Fighter subclasses, which are the books that were in 2014 but did not make the cut for the Player's Handbook in 5e24, but still deserves attention in 5e24. So we're going to be going through that process. We've got our D&D Beyond over here, and click on the classes. So let's fetch the old 2014 subclasses. Zabazoo. There we go. And we'll be able to go in and look at these. So let's get past the fighter we'll start with the Arcane Archer. I believe we have the full, I think we have the full, all the subclasses listed out for the Archer. But if there's anything missing, we'll be able to grab it from the old 2014 rules and import it and then improve it. But I think everything is in here. We're mostly just doing spot checks right now. So the entire stack, again, if you're starting with the document here with us, and you scroll down, here, let me fix my screen here real quick. There. We're looking at the actual powers here. There we go. We have all the mechanics, like all the rules on spell casting. We also have all the rules for channeling powers. So channeling powers is kind of like spell casting, but it's for marshals, not spellcasters. The ranger, the paladin, the artificer, and the warlock can do both. And it's just, you just choose, like, am I going to pick up a spell or am I going to pick up a power? And powers progress, like, even though, like, say a warlock has full casting progression, like levels 1 to 5 spells from level 1 to 9 as a warlock, and then you get into the Mystic Arcanum at level 11 to 17. If they're acquiring powers using the martial power system, they would be gaining those at the 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 marks, just like a half caster would, as an alternate option to the spells that they can normally cast. And when you gain a level, you can swap out all of your spells or powers, so that lets you play with your class as you want to as you gain powers. So we've got a ton of, we have 192 powers total in the book. 124 of them require mana that are broken down into exploits that modify action economy and die rolls. We have maneuvers, which are like spell-like abilities that trigger on magic actions or bonus actions. We have reactions, which trigger on reactions, which would do as you would expect them. If something happens, you spend the mana, you do the thing as a reaction. And then you have strikes, which are on hit effects like 2014 Paladin Smites were. You hit something, you spend the mana, you do the thing. It just works. And that works on any weapon attack that you're making, unless a weapon attack specifically doesn't allow you to do it, which would spell it out. And then there's sustained powers, like personal self-buff effects, like creature auras. You spend the mana, they turn on. You don't have to maintain concentration on them; they're just on. But they also don't have as much impact and don't really affect other people either. They just affect their self-buffs. They affect you, so you don't have to maintain concentration on them. Which is also another big difference between marshals and spellcasters. Spellcasters can do super big, powerful flashbang nova effects, but a lot of them have to maintain concentration to keep up. While the marshals, their stuff is much lower to the ground, more low key, but none of it requires concentration. So they got that going for them. So we're going to go through our list whenever we gain a. Where are we at? Hold on. Here we are. Here's the fighter here. Let's grab that. Take this and toss it into our pile. Okay, so all the subclasses now, because all classes gain mana and they either have access to channeling power, spellcasting, or both, all classes get 10 bonus powers. So everyone across the board is the same. 10 bonus powers no matter what. You just add it to what you have prepared always. So with the martial characters, it's 10 specific channeled powers. When it's a spellcaster, it's 10 spells. And if it's a half caster, it could be 10 spells, 10 powers, or 5 powers and 5 spells. It just depends on kind of how it susses out. So Arcane Archer, this is from the old 2014 Player's Handbook. We're updating it for 2024. So the stack of powers that we gain, we get, okay, so worth mentioning is it says here you're gaining bonus feats. So one of the options that we have in the power system is not only are all the paid meta powers, all the like 124 powers that you spend mana on, there's 67 meta powers, and meta powers are like cantrips. Like combat masteries, like the weapon masteries that go with weapons, those would be considered cantrips. You deal damage and you do a kicker effect. That's kind of a cantrip. We also have feats as powers. Like, so normally, like feats have prerequisites and they give you ability score bonuses. But when you select them as prepared powers with this system, there are no prerequisites, but you don't gain any bonuses to your ability stats either. And you can swap them on a daily basis. So if I want to be a Sentinel, Polearm Master, Heavy Weapon Fighter today, and then tomorrow I want to ditch that and pick up some skills, for instance, like Diplomacy, and investigation and search, because I'm going to change what I do. You have the ability to swap powers around to get access to different things because the campaign evolves faster than your character gains levels. That's where a lot of the real strength from the wizard, the cleric, the druid, that's where it clicks in, is that they have this massive flexibility. And what are they going to do today? Like in the instance of the wizards, like you end up with 20 cantrips by the time you're 20th level that you spend resources on a daily budget to be able to use those feats as often as you want. So in that same vein, we can allow you as a martial character to prepare feats. So when you actually gain your feat at 4th, 6th, 8th, 12th, etc. level, you don't have to spend your feat on a thing that you want, like if you really want Polearm Master, you have to wait till 4th level to get it. Well, with this, you can pick it up as early as 1st level, and then when you get to 4th level, you can just spend it on gaining ability score bonuses, so your character statistically stays in curve with the single class dependent caster characters, like the wizard gaining intelligence up to 20 and then diversifying. Like fighters can do the same thing with their strength, so can barbarians. A druid, like a rogue, can just focus on their dexterity until it hits 20, and then decide what they want to do with the rest of their feats, like level 12 up. So it works the same. So feats that we get: Piercer and Sharpshooter, those are feats, that's great. Martial Strike, we already know that's a first rank strike. That allows us to deal extra damage and use our weapon mastery. Normally combat masteries and strikes are considered the same thing. They're like, it's like a cantrip versus a spell. You can't cast them both with the same action. So similarly, since strikes are basically like the 2014 Divine Smite that the Paladin had, where I hit you, I then spend mana to do a ramp effect. I can do it multiple times per round. Instead of spending mana to do a strike power, I can instead, for free, just use a combat mastery that my character knows how to use. I get the weapon mastery that comes with the weapon that I'm using, and I automatically get access to that because I'm proficient with the weapon. But if I prepare, like, say, Topple, any weapon that I attack with, I can now utilize Topple. So, like, if I want to knock creatures out of the sky, in the 5e24 book, the only weapon I can use in the player's handbook to knock creatures from the sky are javelins. So the meta in D&D now becomes all your fighters are going to lug around a quiver full of javelins, so you can huck them at flying creatures to knock them down, take damage, and then start, raffle stomping on them. Well, with this system, you could make your hand axe. You could take topple. So you could topple them either when you whack at them here on the ground, or if they're out of reach, you can throw your axe and then knock them down that way, whether in the sky or on the ground. So there's more flexibility in how you can utilize these masteries as like cantrip effects. So Martial Strike is Martial Strike lets you add damage and use a mastery, as opposed to not using a mastery. So it kind of cheats. Repositioning Strike, we'll just take a look at that one because I think it's super fun. It's a first rank strike, so you only have to spend 1 mana. You can use it as early as level 1. I could give up my reaction to generate a point of mana for free to utilize this if I wanted to. At like 5th level on, I get 2 attacks. I could sacrifice 1 attack to ramp the damage on a second one if I chose. So the repositioning strike is your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channeled, and you can move 5 feet per mana channeled. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So like by 5th level, I can channel 2 mana, second rank, 2 mana. I could add 2 dice of damage, and again, looking at our power progression table, at 1st level, we're rolling D6s, then D8s at 9, and then D10s at 17. The monk, when we get to it next, is going to be interesting because it starts with a D6, then it gets a D8, then it gets a D10, and ends with a D12. The martial arts die is also your power die. So like whenever you're ramping damage, your attack rolls, your ability checks, your saving throws, and you're spending mana to roll power dice to increase it, the monk is using their martial arts die, not their power die. The battle master also uses a martial, the D8, D10, D12 as opposed to D6, D8, D10. So some classes get a higher die depending on what subclass it is. Blinding Strike, second rank. You hit somebody and they lose their vision, and there you go. So Blinding Strike, here you go. Your weapon can deal radiant damage, and it increases. So the weapon itself, like if I stab you with a dagger, instead of dealing piercing damage, you can do radiant damage with it, along with like your strength and whatever damage you're dealing. And you increase the power die for each point of mana, and since it's second rank, you have to spend at least 2 mana on it. So it's more expensive to use, but it's going to give you more damage automatically. the rank or level of the power is mostly dependent on how impactful the triggering condition is. So blinding not only gives your target disadvantage, but also gives you advantage against them. That's two effects that the blindness condition gives to you or triggers. So that makes it a second rank power because it's stronger than just, say, like pushing somebody 10 feet. That's a first rank power. So you put in 2 dice of damage, you're going to do a lot more damage there, and they're blinded. There you go. And in addition, the creature is blinded. It's automatically, it doesn't make a saving throw, it's just blinded automatically. And the creature can attempt to end the effect by succeeding a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So the effect comes on, and you can't stop that, but then by the end of your turn, you can try to get rid of it with your saving throw. Or like a dispel magic, or various different things that you can do to be able to end conditions on your character. Some classes can just end conditions. So these are ways for if you hit. So the risk and reward is that did I hit the creature or not? In spellcasting, like Hold Person, for instance. In Hold Person, it's a second level spell, and you make a saving throw, and if you fail the saving throw, you're basically paralyzed, which has a bunch of conditions. But you might spend that mana without any success at all. But if you hit, it's a big reward. Big risk, big reward. Throw the mana away in your action, nothing happens as a result of it. That's what spellcasting is like. But martials are built around reliability. The whole premise between a spellcaster and a martial character is that the spellcaster does big flash bang stuff, but they're limited on how much of it they can do. Versus the martial characters, their stuff isn't nearly as impressive, but they can do it all day. So we want to have less effective things that we can consistently produce the results for, to have that consistency. So all we're doing is blinding the target, and it'll go away when they save it. Like the Hold Person, like blindness, for instance, for a wizard. See, I have to hit you to be able to do this. Sure, I'm going to do some damage, but I have to hit you to blind you. The blindness, deafness spell, I can hit you from like 60 feet away, and I don't even have to attack. I just do the thing, and if you fail your saving throw, you're blinded, and it could succeed or not. So that's that divide. The martial is damaging you, and in the process is causing these conditions. As opposed to the wizard, I'm just going to sit back and just wiggle my fingers, and now maybe you're blind and maybe you're not. So the risk rewards is different between those two classes. And again, this is for the Arcane Archer. So obviously the Arcane has all this stuff, and you can do these things with range. So Precise Attack is an exploit. It modifies your die roll. So exploits modify action economy and die rolls. So, and again, this whole thing is available to everybody to look at. All you gotta do is just click on here. It's a Google Doc. It's read only for you, but anyone has access to it. So Precise Attack. There we go. When you make it, again, it's 2 mana. When you make an attack against a creature with less than full cover, you can ignore the benefits of cover and roll a number of power dice equal to the amount of mana spent this way, adding the highest roll to your result. So I'd spend 2 mana. I'd roll, say, at 5th level when I can start doing this. I'd roll 2 6-sided dice, and I'll keep the best result. So, so I'm going to have, if you have any cover, you ignore it. And then I get to add a die onto my chance of hitting. So Precise Attack, I'm going to hit a lot with it. This is actually a really good way to neutralize like the problem that you have like with ranged weapons, and having an ally or an enemy between you and your target when you're attacking with a reach weapon like a polearm. There's disadvantage. They have partial cover, so they get a +2 to their armor class. So this neutralizes that effect and increases your precision, so you're going to hit more often. That's the story behind that. But this is for an Arcane Archer, so it's a ranged attack, right? Your ranged fighter is working around cover, like people that are trying to hide and stuff like that. Bursting Strike, is it still 3rd rank strike? Bursting Strike actually might be a lower rank strike at this point. Let's double check that. This is why we're going through this process, to make sure that, because we've had a number of changes over the past few months, and I haven't necessarily updated all the information, but there it is, Bursting Strike, 3rd rank. So we're going to roll 3 mana. Your weapon deals 3 power dice of additional damage, and any number of creatures that you choose within a 10-foot emanation from the target that you hit also takes damage equal to the result of those 3 power dice. And at 3rd rank, that's 9th level, we're rolling at least a d8, some classes a d10. So we're going to do an extra 3d8 damage to all the targets that are around us. It's kind of like a small, what is it, like Conjure Barrage. It's kind of similar to that. And then power dice, the chinos, let's see, dice roll. Each creature takes damage this way. It can make a dexterity saving throw for half. See, there was no risk in hitting those additional targets in the 10-foot emanation, so they get a saving throw to reduce the damage. The first target I had to hit to even channel the ability in the first place. So that's where my risk came from. The reward was spending mana to do this burst, and now all the other targets that are affected collateral damage, they get to make saving throws to lessen the damage from the attack. What else we got? Curse of Enfeeblement. That is a maneuver, 3rd rank. Oh no, it's a reaction. Is it? Hold on. Yeah, Curse of Enfeeblement. You curse a creature that you can see, and when it says you can see, it typically means within 60 feet, unless it says otherwise. It's just a general rule. All this stuff happens within 60 feet, unless something says otherwise. You curse a creature that you can see to deal half damage with weapon attacks until the target succeeds a saving throw at the end of its turn. So it's just a temporary damage debuff. It's expensive, but by the time you get to 9th level, you're working with creatures that are dealing like 2 to 4 attacks whenever they take the attack action. And creatures like with lair actions, they can be making 5 of them. So if you pop them with a Curse of Enfeeblement, it's going to reduce what they're capable of doing for a little bit. It's going to help save your team, especially if you get caught out of position. Banishing Strike. Lots of damage, banishes the creature. They make a charisma saving throw to come back. Frenzied Attack, that's a sustained power. This is a personal self buff. So when you take Frenzied, you turn it on and it stays on until it's either dispelled, you'll lose consciousness, or you begin a long rest. And if you take a short rest while this is active, you don't get that mana back because you're still holding on to that mana to sustain a power. Once the power is released, then you can regain the mana. So, Frenzied Attack. There it is. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action and gain advantage on all on all attack rolls. So that's huge. And then the extra attack can also be surrender. It can be sacrificed for additional mana. So at 20th level, your fighter would normally have 4 attacks. While this is active, you'd have 5. And you can't get access to this until 13th level. So it's high level, high reward. The advantage is great. The extra attack is nice for the ramping of the mana. So there's all the free bonus powers that you just get. Now let's start looking at the actual abilities. You gain proficiency in Woodcarver tools, and you follow one of the 2 orders. Woodcarver for making arrows and crafting bows. Druidic Circle gives you a Druid Flair to your Arcane Archer. And so that is gain the Druidcraft cantrip and proficiency in nature, or Eldritch Order is the Arcanum side of it. So that would be gaining the Prestidigitation spell cantrip, and you become proficient in Arcana. Level 3 Magic Arrow. You can create temporary non-magical weapons or ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice. You can create temporary non-magical non-magical ammunition. That's the wording that we're supposed to use. You can create temporary non-magical ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a ranged attack, which disappears after finishing the attack. In addition, choose one type of damage from the basic meta power damage list. Whenever you fire an arrow from a short bow or long bow, it can deal the chosen type of damage if the attack hits. You can change the chosen damage type when you finish a short or long rest. So we have the combat masteries, we have feats, and we have damage types as power. So you can prepare acid as a damage type at first level. So when I hit you with a dagger, I'm not going to deal piercing damage. I'm going to deal acid damage, for instance. This is something that's pretty common in D&D now, so it's not a big grab. By 5th level, 2nd rank, Force, which a lot of subclasses just get force damage at 5th level, Necrotic, Psychic, Radiant, Thunder, that curves into just the more advanced damage types. So basic damage, advanced damage, and when you have it, all of your damage can be like that, or if you have an alternate, it's just now an option for you to use. And this allows the DM to lean a lot more into like damage immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities in their monsters to reward characters and diversifying what type of damage types they can use. Like in our playtest this weekend, one of our fighters has the ability to deal fire damage, but was choosing to deal bludgeoning damage with the maul that he was using. But then during the adventure, we discovered there's these mushrooms or this fungus that when you enter the space, it's like stinking cloud and it gives you the poison condition. They learned that if they just catch them on fire, and you can do so as an attack action, you can burn away a 5-foot square that you're standing in, so you aren't actually sickened. So now they have this decision making during the combat. Am I going to attack my target, or am I going to destroy this fungus that's in an adjacent square so I can reposition myself and not potentially lose my action economy from failing my Constitution saving throw, becoming sickened like the Stinking Cloud spell. So now they're all stacking up on fire damage and running around looking for this fungus to destroy it so that they don't have to worry about it. And they're fighting a colony of myconids. So these myconid creatures, mushroom creatures basically, are in this fungus forest. And so the team is learning we can burn this stuff down and effectively debuff these creatures so that we don't have to worry about us being poisoned and them getting strong, because they get stronger in this gas and the characters lose action economy, so or like get poisoned. So it's a fun risk reward system that you can use, and the system really leans into that. So that's the damage type that we get. Arcane Shot, your magical arrows gain additional benefits. Advanced damage. When you channel a strike power through ranged attacks, you don't reduce the power die, and you can choose from advanced damage types for your magic arrow. So like we get these better damage types by 7th level, and usually when you're using a ranged weapon, you have a lower power die. So like at 1st level, if I'm using an arrow, it'd be a D4 instead of a D6 when I'm dealing extra damage, because ranged is weaker than melee. Curving Shot. When you make an attack roll with a ranged weapon and miss, you can use a reaction to re-roll, attacking a different target within 60 feet of the original target. So there has to be at least 2 targets, but you can use it. Synergizing Shot. When you channel a maneuver or a sustained power, you can make a ranged weapon attack as part of the magic or bonus action used to do so. So even when you're activating new abilities or targeting somebody with like a save or suck effect, you can still fire arrows at people, which is great. Surge of Power 15. While using action surge, because it's a fighter subclass, when using the action surge to take the attack action, you deal an additional power die of damage when you hit with a ranged weapon attack. So if I took the attack action at level 15, I've got 3 attacks that I get for free, pop, pop, pop. And if I choose to use all 3 of those attacks to make like longbow attacks, then each one of them at level 15, I'd be rolling an extra D8. Each one of these is automatically going to deal an extra D8 of damage. There you go. And then at 18, Empowered Shots. When you hit with a ranged weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana that you can use to channel a strike power. So we automatically can deal a 1st rank strike power for free every time we hit with a ranged weapon attack. That's pretty cool. All right, cool. So that's the Arcane Archer. I'm still happy with it. Let's look at the Banneret. Again, we want to go through the powers. Inspiring Leader, Alert. Those make sense. Hold on. Because there was an Unearthed Arcana. Yeah, this is the Forgotten Realms subclasses. And this came out, I want to say, what, in February? So let's go find what they did. I'm not happy that they threw away the lore of the purple dragon, but let's take a look at it, see what it looks like now. Knightly Envoy. You learn one language of your choice. Additionally, you can cast a Comprehends language spell, but only as a ritual. Intelligence is your spell. Okay. Purple Dragon Companion. They give you a dragon because they don't understand what purple dragon actually means in Forgotten Realms. Dragon stat. So this is your pet feature for the fighter. Dragon Rider. You and your purple dragon gain the following benefits. The dragon becomes medium size. While you're riding it, the dragon falls at the end. Yeah. Improved gravity breath, gravity weapon. I'm not sure if they're going to keep this or not because there might have been a lot of pushback from the crowd about, how weird the flavor of this is moving away from what Cormier originally had as purple dragons. But when you use your second wind to regain hit points, the dragon also regains hit points equal to D6 plus your fighter level. Level 10, Rallying Surge. When you use your action surge, you can choose up to 3 allies within 30 feet of you. Each ally can take a reaction to use one of the following options. Advanced ally makes one attack with a weapon. Retreat, the ally moves up to half its speed. Okay. Amethyst Pinnacle. Super mount. Tandem attack. When you take the attack action, you can forgo one of your attacks to command the dragon to make one rend attack. Alternatively, you can forgo 2 of your attacks to command the dragon to use gravity. Why are you doing? Go away. No one likes you, AI. Enduring Commander. You and your purple dragon have resistance to force and psychic damage. That's pretty good. I don't know if this is going to, pardon the pun, I don't know if it's going to fly or not. So I'm going to keep the original banneret that they had in the player's handbook. Or, was it Skag? So we're going to keep it. So Alert, Inspiring Leader, Rally, gives temporary hit points as a maneuver. Coordinated Dash, you can order characters to hustle around. Coordinated Attack, they can use... reaction to dash. Allies can use reaction to attack. Allies can use reaction to break a grapple and stand from prone. Intimidating. Hold on. Cooperative effort. That's actually different. Hold on. Let's look at it. Am I right about that? Where's the help action? Hold on. There it is, cooperative effort. It's actually an exploit. That's right, we changed it from being a maneuver to an exploit because it's actually modifying your action economy. That makes sense. Cooperative effort. When using the help action to grant advantage to the ability check or attack of an ally within 60 feet of you, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the ally's die roll. There you go. So, when I use the help action, I'm not only giving them advantage to attack or advantage on their skill check, but they're also going to get the benefit from adding a power die to the result. So that's worth a mana. Cooperative effort. Glad to have it. Intimidating Strike. Deadly Presence. I think these are still lined up. Intimidating Strike is 3rd instead of 2nd. Your weapon can deal psychic damage and increases, you deal 3 dice of damage on top of your normal weapon. The creature is frightened of you until it can't see you anymore. And it can attempt to end it with a wisdom saving throw. I'm cool with that. Yeah, because it's automatically frightened. Yeah. That feels good. Deadly Presence, 2nd rank sustained. This is, I think, like Thicket of Blades. Hold on. I've got the yawns. Deadly Presence. Second rank? Yeah. While this power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated, any creature that you can see that begins its turn or moves within melee reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of weapon damage. When you sustain this power with 4 mana, the damage increases to 2 power dice. I might just change that to Thicket of Blades, because that was such a great name in 3rd edition. That's essentially what this thing does. Attack maneuvers. That's a 2nd rank sustained power, which allows you to swap attacks to instead use maneuvers. And then Opportunist is also a 2nd rank sustained power, and that lets you exchange attacks for additional reactions until the beginning of your next turn. So you get to swap these, you get to basically swap action economy by sustaining this aura effect. It allows you to swap your action economy around. Where are you at? Opportunist and attack maneuvers. This, when all this power is sustained during your turn, when you take the attack action, you can forgo 1 or more of these attacks to channel an equal number of maneuvers instead. There you go. Okay, great. So here's our abilities. When you use the 2nd wind class feature, you can choose a number of allies equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter within 60 feet of you to gain an equal number of hit points. Royal Envoy seems like kind of a bullshit ability to me. You gain the skilled feat. So you gain 3 skills, of which 1 has to be persuasion. And then the other 2 could be either animal handling, insight, intimidation, or performance. That feels a little thin for 7th level. You gain the skilled feat. See, if they add the purple dragon in, that would be a good feature. You gain the skilled feat, and then you have the expertise, and plus, in addition, let's make this modification until otherwise notified. In addition, when using one of these chosen skills, you can roll a number. You can roll a power die, adding the result to your D20 test. Period. So you're automatically going to get like an extra D6. Well, at level 7 you'll get an extra D6. At level 10, at level 9 you'll get an extra D8. And at level 17, you'll get an extra D12. That adds a lot of punch to what the Royal Envoy is. This character can very easily become your face if you don't have a bard on your team. Like, even without having a charisma bonus, that D6, D8, D10, that does a lot. Inspiring Surge. When you use the action Surge class feature, you can choose a number of allies equal to your max rank of power gained as a fighter, and at level 10 it'd be 3, to use their reaction to make 1 weapon attack each. And it could be against any creature. It's just an attack. There you go. Have fun. Bulwark 15. You can extend the benefits of your Indomitable feature to an ally when you decide to use Indomitable to re-roll a saving throw and you aren't incapacitated. You can choose 1 ally within 60 feet of you that also failed its saving throw against the same effect. If that creature can see or hear you, it can re-roll its saving throw and must use the new roll. If you use any power dice to increase the result of your saving throw using Indomitable, the chosen ally can also add the highest power die result to their saving throw as well. So stacking for your friend's benefit. This actually makes you a pretty good leader in keeping your allies alive and making more of their action economy. And 18, reactive maneuvers. Whenever a creature provokes an opportunity attack, you can use your reaction to instead channel a maneuver targeting only that creature. So, and again, we have a whole... That's basically like the Warcaster feat. You can target a creature. That's actually a really good thing for the Battle Master to get. But the Banneret is like the Purple Knight. With this version, the Banneret is like a tank. It is a tanky creature. So here's some of the cool shit you can do with maneuvers. And again, if you take Opportunist, if you take and you get Opportunist for free. So if you take the Opportunist Mastery, again, looking down here, what the Opportunist does, while in second rank, while this power is sustained during your turn, you can, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one or more of your attacks and gain an additional number of reactions. Of course, you can still only use one per turn, and you have those additional reactions until the end of your turn, until the beginning of your next turn, where you can reset them. And you can use those, additional reactions to sacrifice them to generate additional mana. So, keeping that in mind, if, like, say, when do we get this? Opportunist. The Opportunist gains this at 18th level, so we'd have 3 attacks, and I could sacrifice all 3 of those attacks to gain 3 extra reactions. So now I have 4 reactions until the beginning of my next turn. And then on top of it, whenever an opportunity attack gets provoked, I can use one of those reactions to instead use a power instead of an attack. And if I use an attack, I could use a strike power and potentially cause a lot of mischief to a creature, because those strikes are no jokes. Like restraining strike, you increase your damage, and the creature is restrained with magical tethers, and it's stuck until it can succeed a saving throw at the end of its turn. So if an enemy provokes an opportunity attack, I could hit it with a restraining strike, and now it's stuck, for instance. But I could also, using the reactive maneuvers, what I could do is, like, say, telekinetic bubble. I don't get access to it until 13th level, but choose a creature of up to size large, and it becomes trapped within a resilient sphere as the spell. The creature can make a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns to try to break free. But basically, if you try to run away from you, I can just put a bubble around you. You're now in a hamster ball. Blop. And you can't attack anything, but nothing can attack you. But you basically remove them from the fight, unless they, bowl you over with their ball, which you could do with the overrun and some of the other abilities that we have in here. But generally, it's going to shut down like a caster or like a brute that's got a lot of attacks. If he's in a hamster ball, he's not going to be able to do a lot against you. It's like, that's a super fun way. There's also like befuddle, for instance. You can target a creature that you can see to make an intelligence saving throw, and if it fails, it can't take reactions until the beginning of its next turn. And during its next turn, it can only move or take an action or a bonus action. And creatures that are immune roll with advantage to break it. Intelligence saving throw, that's right, until the beginning of its next turn, it can only take this one action. So, like, I could hit you with that as an opportunity attack. Kind of like how Warcaster works. Shunt. Target one creature up to one size larger than you that you can see per mana expended, so multiple targets. I can only affect one target, so, like, say, put 1 point of mana in. And then the target must make a strength saving throw or be pushed up to 10 feet. Because I don't actually have to hit you to do this, they get a saving throw. And if they fail their saving throw, I push them 10 feet. And I can roll a power die for every mana to increase the DC, so they're probably going to fail. But there's, like, Flatten, for instance. Choose a creature that you can see, and it takes dice of damage. It takes 1 power die of damage per mana, and it gets knocked prone. So, like, instead of that creature running away with an opportunity attack, I could hit them for damage and then knock them down. So now they haven't left my opportunity. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff we can do with that. So, fun ability. But otherwise, the Banneret's still good as written. So 1, 2, 3, there. Let's reduce that. 3. Again, we're just checking to see if all these things are still accurate, like the powers, and if the abilities still jive. So, looking at the Cavalier, we have bonus powers. Let's look at them. Mounted Combatant. That makes sense because you're a Cavalier. You're getting a Mounted Combatant feat for free. That makes sense. And then the Trip Mastery to knock creatures prone. That also makes sense. Opportunist, we just looked at that. We get this one all the way as early as 5th level. Goading Strike. Goading Strike. When you hit somebody, they're at disadvantage if they don't attack you. And it remains active until they can hit you. There we go. Goading Strike. Your weapon deals extra damage. And it has disadvantage on attacks that don't target you. The effect ends if they can't see you or if they actually hit you with an attack. So you're automatically dealing extra damage, and they're encouraged to hit you. It'll end if they do hit you, but you're just locking them in. So the target can attempt to end the effect early by succeeding in intelligence saving throw at the end of its turns. So that still works. Deadly Presence, we just looked at that. That still jives. Freezing Strike, we know that still works. Intimidating Strike, we just looked at it. Interpose, we haven't looked at. That's a reaction. Reaction. This way. Interpose. As a reaction to when an ally within reach of your melee attack takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of that damage and gain resistance to it. There you go. Tanking. Like for reals tanking. If a target doesn't take any damage, it doesn't get affected by any conditions. So like if I tried to use like say Topple Mastery to knock somebody down, and I take all the damage for that target, they don't get tripped because I took the hit instead. Provoking Strike, we know that's, I think that's 3rd rank, right? Yeah, Provoking Strike, there it is. You deal psychic damage, increase it by dice per mana. The creature must use its reaction to attack you or target you with a spell or effect until it can no longer see you or you are incapacitated. The creature can attempt to end this effect by succeeding a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. The creature immune to charm. I'm going to make it intelligence because the goading strike is also intelligence. Intelligence save at the end of each of its turns. The creature immune to charm save with advantage. Again, this is the more advanced form of goading. Goading gives you disadvantage if you don't attack me, but provoking a strike forces you to attack me, and it will end by succeeding intelligence savings at the end of its turns. Creature's immune to charm, save with advantage. There you go. And then Rally, 1st rank. That gives you and your allies temporary hit points. That all jives. 3rd, gain skilled feats. Choosing from animal handling, history, insight, performance, or persuasion. Alternatively, you can learn to use tools or languages. Also, 3rd, born to the saddle. You have advantage on saving throws made to avoid falling off your mount. If you do fall off your mount and descend no more than 10 feet, you can land on your feet if you're not incapacitated. In addition, mounting and disarming creatures cost only 5 feet of movement. There you go. That's all still good. And then, Jesus, you get a lot of junk at 3rd level, don't you, buddy? Unwavering Mark. 3rd level, you can menace your foes, foiling their attacks and punishing them for harming others. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can mark that creature until the end of the next turn. The effect ends early if you are incapacitated or you die. While it is within reach of your melee weapon attack, a creature marked by you has disadvantage on any attack roll that doesn't target you. So it's basically goading strike. You hit a creature, and in addition, you can use a reaction power that is considered an opportunity attack against a creature marked by you without spending any mana. In addition, you can use a reaction power. Oh, that's been updated. Let's see. Yeah, that language isn't good anymore because we changed opportunity attacks just into general reactions. Just because there's weird interactions sometimes with opportunity attacks. While it's within reach of your melee attack, a creature marked by you has disadvantage on attack rolls that don't target you. Any attack that doesn't target you, and in addition, you can use a reaction power. In addition, there you go. This is the wording. In addition, when you use a reaction power against a target that is marked, you gain a point of temporary mana to pay for the power, period. So if I want to use a reaction, because it's marked, it's more effective. You can use this feature a number of times equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter. So at 3rd level, we can only use it once, and then by 17th level, we can use it 5 times, and then you can regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest, and you regain them when you use your second wind feature. So you can spam this thing out by using your second wind. I love regaining uses of limited features by expending second wind. It's so fun. And it's just encouraging you to become a reaction machine. Again, you have opportunists, so you can mark multiple targets to get reactions and then trigger multiple reactions during their turns until the start of your next turn. So all these abilities fold into each other really nicely. Warding maneuver as a 7th level at 7th level when you learn to fend off strikes targeted directed against you, your mount, and other creatures nearby. If you're a creature you can see within 5 feet is hit by an attack, you can roll a power die as an opportunity. You can roll a power die if you're wielding a weapon, a melee weapon, or a shield. Add the number rolled to the target's armor class against that attack. If the attack still hits, the target has resistance to the attack instead. To the attack's damage. There you go. And then level 10, hold the line. Creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you when they move while within your reach. And if you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the target speed is reduced to 0 until the end of its current turn. That's basically Sentinel feat, but as a class feature. That's fine. Ferocious Charger. Within your weapon reach. While within your weapon, your melee weapons reach. So like a lance, for instance, which has has the reach property 10 feet. You can stab at thee as an opportunity attack. Ferocious Charger, 15. You run down foes, whether you're mounted or not. When you move at least 10 feet in a straight line right before attacking a creature with a melee weapon, if you hit, you automatically trip the target. Oh, that's cool. And that's on top of anything else that you could do. It's just a kicker effect. You always benefit from the opportunist power without sustaining the effect. And the number of additional reactions you can take is equal to 1 plus any attacks that you sacrifice. So you no longer have to sustain this with 2 ranks of 2 mana or eating 2 ranks of power, and you get a bonus reaction. So this guy is like super hardcore, hold the line kind of character. That's super cool. We did rebuild the Echo Knight because everyone fucking loves the Echo Knight. So let's take a look at him. Subtle Channeling. Subtle Channeling, I believe, is an exploit now, isn't it? Yeah, Subtle Channeling. When you channel a power, there's no visual evidence that you are the source. Normally, there's some sort of like magical radiance that comes off of you. Since there's no material, there's no components that you actually need, like verbal, somatic, or material components to channel powers, there has to be a tell. And so the tell is basically like a magical, visual effect of your choice. So that is, in fact, a exploit one. And then telekinetic. Kind of like for the Echo. Saving Grace is a second rank reaction. It lets you reroll saving throws. Empowered Synergy. Empowered Synergy is when you use a maneuver or an attack or like a sustained power, you can make an attack as part of that action or bonus action. Anchor is still third rank reaction. If a target tries to move, teleport, or shift planes, they get stuck to their location. And then this actually works with your allies as well. If your ally is going to get banished or pushed somewhere, you can just anchor them in space, and they can just hang in the air instead of falling, for instance. So when it becomes their turn again, they can recover from it. Opportunist, we've seen that a couple times now already. Flicker Pounce allows you to teleport to a target and hit it. If success, you can teleport back to where you began. Ghost Walker is incorporeality. That is still 3rd rank. Banish Strike, so forth. Provoking Strike, we just looked at it. 3rd rank strike. Good. Manifest Echo. So you can create an echo within 30 feet of yourself at a location that you can see as a maneuver, which is either a bonus action or a magic action, without expending mana. If you create another echo, the first is destroyed. The echo is destroyed if it is more than 30 feet away. During your turn, you can spend 15 feet of movement to switch positions between you and your echo. The echo has a AC 14 plus max rank of power gained as a fighter. So when we get this, it'd be a armor class of 15. The echo is a non-flammable object with 1 hit point. When it takes any damage, it is destroyed unless you choose to take the damage on behalf of the echo. So your echo doesn't automatically pop, but if you want to keep it around and if it is hit, you are going to take the damage for the echo instead. That is a much a more fair use of the ability, because it's either going to cost you action economy to get it back, or you get to keep it in the position that it is for whatever reason that you need it there, and you're going to be willing to take the damage for it. So Unleash and Incarnate, when you make an attack. The target can be when you make an attack, the target can be within reach of you or your echo. I want to word that differently. You can make an attack against a creature that is within reach of you or your echo. Period. You can use a reaction from your position or the echoes, and you can use a bonus action to make a weapon attack from the echo's position, including when you use a bonus action to manifest the echo. When you channel a power, you can originate it from the echo. So you can use the echo as like a mobile sensor location to fire off effects. Echo Avatar is a cool class. I like it. It just needs to have a little less tomfuckery, which is what we're working on here. Echo Avatar is a 2nd rank sustained effect, which requires 2 mana. You can mentally receive visual information from your echo, expanding your perception to see in every direction. You have dark vision. Sustaining your echo this way does as well. While sustaining the echo this way as a maneuver without expending mana, you can move it up to 30 feet in any direction, and is no longer limited to 30 feet distance from you. A solid barrier blocks the echo's movement, but it can pass through an opening as small as 1 inch. While sustaining the echo this way, 2nd rank, so it's going to cost me 2 to have it roam around. And then I can move it up to 30 feet. A maneuver can either be a magic action or a bonus action. I can do them both in the same turn. So I can use 2 maneuvers in the same turn if I'm willing to eat up all my action economy that way. Is no longer, and again, this document is available for you guys. You can read it with me right now if you're interested. You can click down here into the Martial Powers playtest document. It is read only. Hey, cool. Thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. It is a read-only document for you for now, but again, like everything else on the DMsGuild, like all my books, like here's a bunch of books that I have on the DMsGuild, like all the Color Mana stuff is right here. All these books have free previews, and the previews are like 100%. So you can look at all the documents, and all these classes are ready to go from level 1 to 20. We've been playtesting them for a year. They work really well. We're just really getting into the nitty-gritty of how stuff works to make sure it's really good upon release. Echo Avatar, 2nd rank, sustaining. Oh, yeah, that's right. And then we can move it. It's no longer limited to 30 feet, and you can move it in any direction 30 feet as a bonus action and as a magic action in the same turn. While the Echo is farther than 30 feet from you, you can no longer switch locations from it, channel powers through it, or make attacks or reactions from its position. I just think this is better language than what the original Echo had. I just think it makes more sense. And then Shadow Martyr, level 10. You can channel a power. When you channel a power through your Echo, you can choose to destroy the Echo after channeling the power. Doing so generates 2 points of mana to spend on channeling the power. When you channel a power through your echo, you can choose to destroy the echo as part of channeling. Doing so generates 2 points of temporary mana to add onto the channel power. Okay, so here's the thing. You can already generate mana, right? We were talking about this earlier. Action economy. You can sacrifice action economy to generate free mana to trigger effects during the same turn that you created. So if it's your turn, you have a bonus action, you have attacks, and you have movement, and then there's a reaction somewhere. Reactions give you 1 point of mana. Movement doesn't give you anything anymore. It was just too good. People were standing still and burning mana instead of moving around, so it became tactically stale. So getting rid of that incentive helps free up the battlefield a little bit more. But bonus action, so you can create your echo as a bonus action, right? So if you already have an echo on the board, when you channel a power, it'll give you 2 points of mana. And since we don't gain this ability until 10th level, we can already gain 2 points of mana to generate. We can sacrifice a bonus action to generate 2 mana anyway. So if we've already spent a bonus action to get our echo, we could pop it to get 2 points of mana to spend on maneuver. So it's kind of like the echo is like paying for those 2 points of mana in advance when we prepared for it to have it ready, and then later, because if we want our echo back, we have to use action economy to get it back. So it's the same amount of benefit and efficiency in mana usage, but the Echo Knight lets us use it differently. I won't be putting this in the book because it's wild mount, it's Darrington Press content, but I can put it on my Patreon as fan content. So I'll build a PDF for it and artwork and all that other shit. I'll build it out like I build out everything else. So it'll be a while, but stick around, it's gonna happen. I love Shadow Martyr. I think that's a super fun ability. Reclaim potential. When your echo is destroyed, you gain temporary hit points equal to the result of rolling 2 power dice. So we can destroy we can destroy our echo. Echo Martyr. I don't know why it's called Shadow Martyr. It should be Echo Martyr because they're echoes. So we can destroy our echo to generate 2 mana to channel a power during our turn, and in the process of doing that, we gain two dice worth of temporary hit points. Super synergy there. And since it's temporary hit points, it doesn't stack and break itself. It still has its own cap. Like at 13th level, it's D8s. So we could at best get 16 temporary hit points, which isn't difficult to do in this game as it is already. And then Legion of One. You can now manifest 2 echoes instead of 1 when you use the manifest echo feature. And these echoes can coexist. If you create 1 or 2 new echoes, the original 2 are destroyed. Anything you can do from one echo's position can be done from another one's instead, and you can sustain 4 mana to use the Echo Avatar feature on both simultaneously. Each requires separate actions to move. So there you go. Super cool, very fun. Echo Knight, love it. Onward. Rune Knight. Again, we're just going through these to make sure all the features are here, all the mechanics still make sense, and all the bonus powers are appropriately titled, labeled, and leveled. And then we'll get through, we got the Samurai, so we got the Samurai, we have the Rune Knight, and, okay, well, we only have those 2 left. It's only 7:10, so we'll probably get into the Monk today. I'm going to shift my seat some more because I'm a little ramped up on the coffee, so I'm feeling fidgety. Hope you guys are having a good time. Thanks a lot for checking this stuff out. I'm here all the time. I stream 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning. I do artwork for whatever book I'm working on. Right now it's an Eberron adventure. I'm looking forward to publishing that. Mondays and Thursday nights now we're doing this, and Tuesdays and Friday lunchtimes we're doing this as well. So if you're interested in seeing more of this stuff, like, subscribe, bell. Be welcome to join my Discord community down below. It's free access. Welcome to it. So, Overrun, first rank exploit, Restraining Strike. Let's check out Restraining. I think Restraining Strike is actually second rank now. Let's double check that. We're also looking for Overrun. So let's check out since we're here. Let's check out Overrun. Overrun. You can channel this exploit as part of a move action. So while we're moving, we basically expend mana. You can move through a number of 5-foot spaces occupied by creatures of your choice equal to the mana expended this way. So if I spend 3 mana, I can move through 3 squares that are occupied by other creatures. You can choose to deal damage to any creature occupying space that you can move through this way, dealing 1 power die of force damage for each point of mana. So in this example, 3 mana, that's 3 squares, could be 3 creatures. They're going to take 3d8 damage each, for instance. A creature can make a dex save for half, and if you end your movement in a space occupied by another creature, you instead get pushed out and you just end at the last available square. And then if I spend an extra point of mana, that movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. There's a lot of ways to prevent opportunity attacks. This is one of them. So cheers. And then we're also looking for Restraining Strike to verify if it's first or second rank. It is second rank now. What is this? Rune Knight? So we're going to take Restraining Strike. We're going to put at second level. And we're going to take Adaptive Resistance and drop it down to first. There we go. Adaptive Resistance is, while sustaining this power, you gain resistance to 1 or more types of damage as listed below in any combination up to your max channel limit. So for 1 mana, it's basic elemental damage, acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. And you can pick up multiple for 1 each. You have a max rank of 1 at 5th, and then 1 at 1st, and then 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th. So at 17th level, I can have up to 5 mana sustaining powers. And if I wanted to use Adaptive Resistance, I could take like all of these. Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Thunder. All 5 of those would cost me 5 mana. Energy types. 2 mana per energy type. Become Resistance. Force, Necrotic, Psychic, Radiant. So at 17th level, when I have 5 mana that I can sustain, I could pick like, say, Force and Necrotic and first rank Thunder. And then, and of course, since it's second rank, I can't actually do that until 5th level. And then natural resistance is BPS and poison. There you go. Empowered ability. Empowered ability reads, choose 1 ability score. You have advantage when rolling checks and saves. And you gain the empower. You have advantage when rolling checks and saves with that ability. And you gain the Empowered Effort exploit for the chosen ability while sustaining this power. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different ability for each point of mana sustained this way. And that's extraneous. So let's go look at, so while you're sustaining this, you also gain the Empowered Effort exploit. So let's go look at Empowered Effort. Empowered Effort. When you make an ability check or a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana spent this way, adding the highest result to your highest roll to your result. So while I have empowered abilities available, give it to me. Oh yeah, down here. Let's choose Dexterity. Choose an ability score. I now have advantage when rolling checks and saves for dexterity, and I can spend mana to add dice to the result of the saving throw. So, and again, I don't have a lot of mana. At 5th level, I only have 5 mana. I'll get it back on a short rest, and for a fighter, I can get some back on a second wind. But there's not a lot of mana in my mana pool. So once I'm out of mana, I have to spend action economy to generate that mana. And it only works during combat. So like save my pool out of combat and then sacrifice actions to generate mana to do all these cool things every round instead if I wanted to. Unless I get at higher levels and I start getting a stack of mana, or like I have Mox crystals that give me extra mana on a long rest, I could utilize that as well. But yeah, good synergy here so far. And this is for the Rune Knight, right? The Giantkin type. Cloud Strider? I don't really even know if Cloud Strider still exists. Hold on. Wind Strider, here we go. 3rd rank. While this power is sustained, you can fly using your walking speed and hover. When the power ends, you benefit from the effects of a Featherfall spell until you occupy a space on solid, liquid, or surface that can support you. Wind Strider. It's now called Wind Strider. It's a 3rd rank sustain. Because like fly is a 3rd level spell, right? You have your movement and it's basically flight without requiring concentration. Redirect. Reaction 1. Worth looking at. Redirect. There it is. As a reaction to when a creature within reach of your melee weapon that you can see hits you or another creature with an attack, you can redirect the attack from hitting the intended target to instead target another creature you can see within reach of your melee attack using the same attack roll. And that's a reaction, so typically you only get one of them. But if you have Opportunist active, you could have multiple per round. Again, protecting your back line from taking incidental damage. Super useful tanky ability. Beguiling Trance, that's now called Befuddle, which we looked at earlier already. It steals action economy from you, and you can... or save a saving throw. Saving Grace allows us to re-roll a d20 and power dice to succeed on a d20 test. Hexproof, I think that's 4th rank now, right? Yeah, 4th rank. As a reaction to when a creature you can see uses a magic action or casts a spell that targets only you, you are unaffected by it, wasting the action. Any mana spent on a wasted action is regained. That's reaction 4. And Master of Fate, which is a maneuver. No, it's a sustained power. Hold on. Master of Fate. You can channel this ability. When you channel this ability, it costs 4 mana to use it, so 13th level. You get 3 fate dice, d20s. You roll them up, and later on, when you would roll a d20, you could use one of your pre-rolled d20s instead. And anytime you spend a point of mana while you're sustaining Master of Fate, it's as an exploit. When you can expend additional fate, replacing the points. Right. So, no, it's not an exploit. It's just out of your mana pool. You can spend a point of mana to regain or re-roll a spent fate die. And then when you end the power, they're all expended. You lose them all. Cool. Okay, so... bonus powers, looking at what can the Rune Knight do. The Rune Knight's got a lot going on, so strap in. Bonus proficiencies. 3rd level, you gain skilled feat, gaining proficiency with smith tools, giant language, and you can choose one additional skill tool or language of your choice. Also, Giant's Might. You gain giant growth as a 1st rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. If we look again at here we have giant growth and get stompy. Here we can see a Selesnya Loxodon. Whoa, there you go, buddy. Chasing after some poor Azorius guards. This guy is huge, like literally huge size. So let's take a look at Stompy power. Giant growth. It's 2nd rank, right? So 2nd rank, and as 2nd rank, when you spend 2 mana, your size large, your space is 2 by 2, your weight increases by 8, your reach increases by 5, and you automatically deal an extra power die of damage on your strength ability checks and increase damage. And then at 13th level, you can spend 4 mana to sustain a huge size, which is a 3 by 3 space, 16 times your weight, 10 times it has plus 10 reach, and 2 power dice of damage. Add up the damage to increase your damage type, and then roll both dice and keep the highest result for your strength ability checks. So, with that in mind, Giant's Might. You gain giant growth as a first rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large instead of 2. So you get it right away. Rune Carver, 3rd. You can use magic runes to enhance your gear. You learn 1 rune of your choice from among the runes described below. When you reach certain levels in this class, you learn additional runes as shown in the rune gnome table below, and each time you gain a level in this class, you can replace any number of runes you know with different ones from this feature. So 3, 7, 10, 15, 18, you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and at 18th level you end with 5. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a number of objects equal to the number of runes you know, and you inscribe a different rune onto each of the objects. To be eligible, an object must be a weapon, a suit of armor, a shield, jewelry, or something else you can wear or carry unencumbered. Your rune remains on an object until you finish a long rest, and an object can bear only one of your runes at a time. Each rune grants a sustained effect and a type of damage you can empower weapon attacks with, which we've talked about earlier. The sustained effect has a 0 mana cost, so it doesn't tie up any of your mana to use it, and it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't count towards your max channel limit, but otherwise follows the rules of sustaining a power as generate. Like if you go unconscious, you'll lose it. It can be dispelled. Anti-magic works on it, etc., etc. The type of damage you can empower ignores the minimum channeling level to learn, but otherwise follows the rules of empowered damage as listed in the list of powers below. So like some of the more exotic damage types, right? The advanced energy damage types. Force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, thunder, as opposed to basic damage types, acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing there. So here's your list of runes. We'll end up having 5 at 18th. How many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of them. Cool. Cloud runes, sustained effect. You have advantage on dexterity, sleight of hand, and charisma deception. In addition, your attacks gain thunder damage. Gain expertise in a tool you're proficient with. In addition, your attacks can deal fire damage. Frost Giant. Let's see. To gain advantage on wisdom, animal handling, and charisma intimidation. In addition, your attack can deal cold damage. Hill Rune. Sustained is advantage save on saving throws and resist poison damage. And you can you gain resistance to poison damage. In addition, your attacks can deal poison damage. Stone. Sustained effect advantage on wisdom insight check, and you get 120-foot dark vision. In addition, your attacks can deal force damage. And then finally, Storm Rune. You have advantage on intelligence arcana checks, and you can't be surprised. In addition, your attacks can deal lightning damage. So by 18th level, you can have 5 or 6 of these going, which is a ton of utility, a lot of advantage on different types of die rolls, some added like perception with the dark vision, and can't be surprised. Those things are really useful. Cool. 7, Runic Shield. As a reaction to when a creature within 60 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can expend 1 mana, causing the attack to reroll, taking the new result. Period. Great stature is your height increases by 3 to 4 inches, and adaptive runic power. You can replace 1 rune you know with a first rank sustained power. This sustained power has a mana cost of 0 and doesn't count towards your max channel limit unless you can sustain it at higher ranks, which cost the full value. If a power can be sustained more than once, only the first use of it is free. When you gain additional levels of fighter, you can choose a different sustained power to modify this way. You gain additional fighter levels. 1 rune. If a power can be sustained more than once, only the first use is 0. When you gain additional fighter levels, you can choose a different sustained power to there you go. Yeah, so we can swap that around whenever we gain a level. And then 15, Runic Juggernauts. 3 mana to become huge instead of large, which is early. And actually, we can become huge at 13th level, but this reduces the cost, so you're incentivized. We can already do it for 1. And that 1 rank, that 1 level that you'd spend on giant growth, you could use that as your chosen sustained rune. So that could drop the cost of your first rank giantism. That could drop it all the way down to 0, so it doesn't cost anything to be size large, and you're large all day. Master of Runic Power, choose up to 3 first rank sustained powers instead of choosing from the list of runes above. When you gain additional fighter levels, you can choose up to 3 different sustained powers to modify this way. So you can just really, those runes just let you stack up first rank effects. So let's take a look at some of them, because how cool. Some have more value than others. Rogue Stance, bonus action, dash, dodge, disengage. Pretty nice. Trap Springer, advantage on search. You can search as a bonus action, and you gain advantage on intelligence, investigation, wisdom, perception checks to find traps. And you automatically understand the general nature of the trap revealed this way, and you gain advantage on intelligence or dexterity checks used to disarm it. That's really value. Power Armor, your armor class is 12, plus your channeling ability modifier, say strength 20, that's 17, plus your max rank of power at 17th level is +5, so that would be an armor class of 22 for free without a shield. And then Power Shield, it's you create a shield that you don't have to hold, and it is armor class starts at 2. It's 1 plus your max rank. So level 1 it starts with a 2, and by 17th level it is a +6 to your armor class. So that is huge. So that could take your armor class all the way up to 28 using just Power Armor and Power Shield, which the Runic Knight can get for free by replacing them with your runes. High value, but there's so many things in the game that can ramp their attack roll by rolling extra dice. If you have characters that are kitting out power dice and Power Armor and Power Shield, giving monsters power dice to be able to potentially hit them just becomes part of the routine. So it also helps deal with the shield issue. Worth having. Dude, that's a fun class. Okay, so Samurai. Let's look at these. Dire Impact no longer exists. So let's find something new. For the Samurai. Deadly Presence is great for Samurai. Anything that comes near takes damage. Is basically how it works. Something weird happened over here. I'm going to fix this. There we go. Whoop. And again, this playtest document is right here. It's read-only for you, and all the color mana mechanics we published for 2014 are here, and we're going through the process of updating them for 2024. This document that you have a link to here leads you to all the revisions for the 2024 mana system that we've been building. You are most welcome to explore it. If you think this stuff is cool, consider making a purchase. Just to encourage behavior, you're welcome to join my Discord server. I've got a Patreon. But more than anything, like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications, because I'm going to be back tomorrow at lunch to do more of this. So bonus powers, deadly. That's some bad English there, y'all. Presence. And then mobile is a feat. We can take feat as powers. You just don't get the ability bonus. Double strike. I think that remains a second rank maneuver. Let's verify. The double strike. So it's a maneuver, so you can use that as a magic action or as a bonus action, your choice, or both in the same turn if you want. So you can make, like a rogue can get 4 attacks this way by cashing 4 mana and using your action and your bonus action. You could get 4 attacks. Granted, you only still get 1 sneak attack, but there you go. 2 weapon attacks against the same or different target, and you can't sacrifice those attacks to generate mana. Double strike, empowered synergy. That's the second rank. Yep. First strike is 3rd. Hypertonistic is 3rd. Opportunist is 2nd. Slurry is 3rd. Further attack 4, unstoppable. Yep, those are all accurate. Bonus action, choose the archetype 3rd level. You gain the skilled feat. You gain 3 skills. 2 of them have to be from history, insight, performance, and persuasion. Or you can learn a language of your choice. And the last option could be any skill, tool, or language of your choice. Fighting Spirit, 3rd level. As a bonus action on your turn, you can channel 1 mana to give yourself advantage on weapon attack rolls until the end of your current turn. When you do, you also gain 5 temporary hit points for each rank of power gained as a fighter. 5 at 3rd, 10 at 5th, 25 at 17th. Do I like that? You can channel 1 point of mana to give yourself advantage as a bonus action on your turn. It's not a maneuver, because you can make maneuvers free by expending action economy. No, we're going to actually eat this out of your mana pool. And so you get the kicker effect. You get advantage on stuff, and you get the temporary hit points. Elegant Courtier. Your discipline and attention to detail allow you to excel in social circumstances. Whenever you make a charisma persuasion check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your max channel limit gained as a fighter. Your self-control also causes you to gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. If you already have this proficiency, you instead gain proficiency in intelligence or charisma wisdom saving throw instead. Spirit in action, 10. You can channel the fighting spirit feature as an exploit when you take the attack action instead of using a bonus action. So this will now can become free and as part of the attack action. There you go. Rapid strike. When you take the attack action on your turn, you have advantage on an attack roll against one of the targets. You can forgo the advantage to gain an additional attack as part of the same action, which can be sacrificed to gain an additional temporary point of mana using the Empowered Actions optional class feature. You can use this feature no more than once during an attack action. So you can sacrifice advantage to gain an extra attack. That extra attack can be sacrificed to gain mana to then channel a strike or do something. Strength before death. If you take damage, it'll drop you to 0 hit points, but it doesn't outright kill you. You can use a reaction to delay falling unconscious, and you can immediately take an extra turn, interrupting the current turn. While you have 0 hit points during that extra turn, taking damage causes death saving throw failure as normal, and 3 death saving throws failure can still kill you. When the extra turn ends, you fall unconscious if you still have 0 hit points. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or spend 5 mana to regain it. Death Blossom, limited use. Holy crap! We finished the fighter. Nice job, us. We done it. Where are we at? 7:30. Okay, so we can get through the monk scaffold tonight, and then tomorrow at lunch we'll go through the 2024 subclasses in the player's handbook. And then Thursday night, we're going to work again, and we're going to work on the Forsaken monk subclasses that were in 2014 but did not graduate to 2024. So we're going to treat all of those. So starting at the beginning, let's kick into the monk. Monks are super fun with this system. We already have our focus point or key. We gain 1 per level. We already know that. We get it back on a short rest. We have the action economy that we can expend to generate additional mana. We have an unarmed speed. We have our martial power. We have our martial die, a D8, D6, D8, D10, ending with a D12. That is our power die. Excuse me. Max rank of power is 1. 5th is 2. 9th is 3rd. 13, 4. 17, 5th. The perfect system in 5e is the half casting scaffold. It really is. And again, prepared powers. Prepared powers can be actual mana abilities, any of the listed feats in the section, combat masteries, which are huge for monks, and damage types. So we'll just go through all these features here so we're all refreshed with them. Channeling Martial arts, unarmed defenses, uncanny metabolism. Then we have focused arts and unarmed movement. Then we have deflect attacks and monk subclass. And then we have a feat that we can actually gain stats on, slow fall, extra attack at 5, and stunning strike. We have empowered strikes, subclass features. We also have whirlwind attack that we've added. Evasion at 7. Again, you get your bonus feat at 8. You have acrobatic movement at 9, heightened focus and self-restoration. Subclass feat deflect energy instead of just weapons. Discipline survivor, focus, perfect focus. Subclass features superior defense, epic boon, body and mind. There you go. So our channeling stat is either strength, dex, or wisdom, depending on whether you want to focus on one of those or not. Beginning at first level, you learn 4 powers. We already know all this. Okay, martial arts. Unarmed attacks, natural weapons, and any melee weapon you're proficient with that doesn't have the heavy property is a monk weapon, which gains the following features while not wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use your strength, dex, or wisdom modifier for your attack and damage rolls. You automatically roll a d6 if the die isn't better. And it advances up to d12 at 17. Whenever you hit with an unarmed attack, you can choose to deal bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage with your unarmed attack. Your unarmed strikes are considered your unarmed attacks. And natural weapon attacks are considered to be weapons worth 1+ silver pieces for the use of spells, feats, and features requiring the prerequisite, and can use any combat mastery that you have already prepared. You always have grapple and topple combat masteries ready, and you can use a bonus action to make an attack with a monk weapon. There you go. Lots of versatility there for you. So like a Minotaur monk could be focused specifically on goring people with its horns as natural weapons. Unarmed defense. When you aren't wielding armor or shield, AC 10 plus dex plus wisdom modifier. That's pretty typical. Uncanny metabolism. When you roll initiative, you can regain an amount of mana equal to your... Okay, so uncanny metabolism, first level. When you roll initiative, you can regain an amount of mana equal to your monk level. When you do so, roll your martial arts die and regain a number of hit points equal to your monk level plus the number rolled. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, but still really fucking useful. Focus dart, and again, you get your mana back on a short rest anyway. And your level of monk is the amount of mana that you have in your pool normally. Notice how it's specifically saying your monk level. That's to encourage you, like you get so many benefits from multi-classing. This rewards you for single classing as monk and punishes you for diverting away from it. So risk and reward. Level 2, focused art for your blows. Spend 1 mana as a bonus action to make 2 attacks with a monk weapon. Patient defense. When you disengage action as a bonus action, you can spend a point of mana as an exploit. These are exploits. The flurry of blows is not an exploit. See that? It doesn't say exploit. It just says bonus action. So that means over here as an exploit, you can generate mana for free if all you're planning on doing is being a patient defender. Like I'm going to sacrifice an attack to gain patient defense so I can disengage and dodge at the same time. Super useful. Step of the wind, dash, and if I spend a point of mana as an exploit, I can disengage. Third rank, deflect attacks. We changed the language on this because damage types are so fluid in this game. Like if you attack, like written rules as written, if a monk is attacked with a weapon that deals force damage, like a magic weapon, then you can't deflect it because it's not BPS, it's magic, it's force damage, and that means you can't deflect it. That sucks. So instead, when a weapon attack hits you, or an ally within reach of your melee weapon, you can reduce so it can target either you or an ally that you can reach. The amount of damage dealt by an amount equal the result of one power die plus channeling modifier plus your monk level. So like at 17th level, it'd be D12 plus 17 plus probably 5. 12, 29, probably like up to 34 damage. Anywhere from 23 to 34 damage, yeah. And then I can use 1 point of mana as an exploit, which I can, use action economy for free, for instance, if I have it available, to redirect the attack. A melee weapon attack can target another creature that you can see within 5 feet of you. A ranged weapon attack can target another creature without full cover that you can see within 30 feet of you. The new target makes a dexterity saving throw against your channeling DC. If it fails, they take the amount of damage equal to the deflected attack, using the same type of damage. There we go. Monk's sublevels at 3, feats at 4, slow fall at 4, extra attack at 5, stunning strike. Here's a new one. I'm thinking whirlwind. Stunning strike. A little different, mostly the same. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, you can expend 1 mana to force the target to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the start of your next turn. So this is it's like a strike power, but it doesn't deal extra damage. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, you can, again, for instance, if you used a weapon mastery, you could not channel a strike power with a mastery at the same time. Because masteries are considered to be cantrips, where strike powers are considered to be spells. It's like it uses the same action space, so you can't do them at the same time unless something says that you can. So in that sense, the stunning strike is very similar to that, but you can only do it once per turn. So you kind of like sneak attack. You can only do sneak attack once per turn. You don't have a problem with that. So once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, you can expend 1 mana to force the target to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the start of its next turn. You can use Stunning Strike in combination with any weapon mastery you know, regardless of whether the target is stunned. So whether they succeed or fail, I could topple, or I could grapple, or I could addle, or push, whatever I want to do. 6 empowered attacks. Whenever you deal damage with your unarmed strikes, it can deal your choice of force damage or its normal damage type, which can be BPS. Whirlwind attack. As a magic action, you can attack. This is new. This is a deconstructed Steelwind strike. Check it out. As a magic action, so it's going to replace your attacks. Suitable. You can attack enemies around you that you can see in a blur of motion. The whirlwind attack table below shows how many targets you can attack and how far from you each of those targets can be. Make a separate melee weapon attack against each target with the monk weapon. Each target hit takes 1 power die of damage for each point of mana expended this way, up to the max channel limit gained as a monk, plus your channeling ability modifier. These attacks cannot use strike powers or weapon masteries. So I'm going to, at 6th level, I'm going to hit a target for up to potentially 2 mana. And it'd be a D6. For a monk, it'd be a D8. So I could do 2D8 damage to 2 targets within 15 feet. 2D8 plus, probably plus 4. To 2 targets. By 18th level, I can target up to 5 creatures. I could spend up to 5 mana doing 5 12-sided dice worth of damage each. That is literally the pace of Steelwind Strike. Deal 60-10 damage against 5 targets as a magic action. This is the same as that. It'll cost me 5 mana to do it. But I could spend 1 mana and hit 5 targets for 1d8, 1d12 plus 5 damage, for instance. But I could also then trip all of them, or topple, or push. And with this system, forced movement draws opportunity attacks. So when you push somebody out of your reach, you can attack them eating your reaction during your turn when you do. So this encourages you to move targets around the board. And monsters can use this as much as players can. So the DM, if you have brutes or tactical creatures, they're going to push or topple you to force you to make movements or to push you out of reach and get opportunity attacks on you as you exit their reach, because you set them up. It's your own little wombo combo sort of thing. It's fun. Evasion, half damage, dexterity saving throw, or none if you succeed. Acrobatic movement. When you aren't wearing armor, wielding a shield, you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the movement. There you go. Heightened focus arts, level 10. More goodies. We're looking at heightened focus. Sorry, I fell asleep. Your flurry of blows, patient defense, and step of the wind gain the following benefits. Flurry of blows. Expend a point of mana. Flurry of blows. You can make 3 attacks instead of just 2. Spend 1 point of mana. You can use patient defense. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of 2 power dice. Step of the wind. 1 mana. Use step. You can take a creature with you. And no one draws opportunity attacks. Nice. 10, self-restoration. You can remove one of the following conditions from yourself at the end of each of your turns. Charmed, frightened, poisoned. This ends any additional effects from the condition as well. In addition, foregoing food and drink does not cause exhaustion. Deflect energy, 13. You can now use your deflect attacks against any type of attack, not just weapon attacks. So spell attacks. This could also be like siege weapon attacks. I'm trying to think, is there any other type of attack? I don't think there's any other attack in the game right now. Like siege weapon attacks, that's huge. Like if somebody's like throwing a catapult at you, you could catch it and then throw the catapult back at them. That's super fun. Super fun. Disciplined survivor. You gain proficiency in all saving throws. In addition, when you fail a saving throw, you can expend 1 mana to re-roll it using the new result instead. Perfect focus, 15. When you roll initiative and don't use uncanny metabolism, which we have up above, which gives you all your mana back in one go, you regain an amount of mana equal to your max rank of power you gain as a monk. So at 15th level, your 4th rank, every time you enter combat, you either gain 4 mana usually, or once per long rest, you can gain 15 mana. Plus, you have your short rest and your long rest. Superior defense, 18. You can expend 3 mana to bolster yourself against harm for 1 minute until you have the incapacitated condition. During that time, you have resistance to all damage except for force damage. And then epic boon, which is extra feet. And then body and mind. Your dexterity and wisdom scores increase by 4 to a maximum of 25. Your dexterity, yeah, there you go. And now we're looking at the traditions of power. What time is it? 7:50. I'm feeling we got through the monk chassis. I'm really happy about that. We're already going to come back, and oh my god, this Thursday is I'm playing Shadow Dark with Wally DM, How to RPG, and I think AJ Pickett and a slew of other people. Shadow Dark's a lot of fun. I love old Beckme style games, and Shadowrun really does feel like an old Beckme style game. It's fun. We got 4th level characters. I have a character that's ran in 3 of their adventures so far. So I'm really happy about that. I'm planning on bringing them back. So I'm going to be doing that on Thursday night at 5 o'clock. So, and then I'll be doing some game streaming afterwards. So from 5 to 7, we'll be doing Shadow Dark. And then from like 7:30 till 9, I will be continuing working on Traditions of Power. And then on Friday lunch, we'll also be working on this document. And we'll probably... we'll probably have it finished, and then next week we'll work on the Ranger. So let's go through Warrior of Mercy and see where we end up at, and see if everything's kosher. If I still have strength, we'll keep pushing. But I'm starting to feel tired and fatigued. I fell asleep there for a second. That's a good indication that I should be wrapping up for the night. So let's just push on for this last one. We'll get through Warrior of Mercy, and we'll probably call it cuts and come back with the Warrior of Shadow next time. So, Warrior of Mercy, tell us more about you. Again, everyone gets bonus powers, 10 of them. Every subclass gets 10 bonus powers. Or spells, depending on what kind of a character you are, or a mix. Like some rangers get 5 spells and 5 powers. Some rangers get 10 spells. Some of them previously didn't get any for some stupid reason, so we give them 10 powers instead. So everyone stays the same. You get 20. Basically, you get 23 powers of your own just from gaining level 1 to 20, and you get your 10 bonus powers. If you're taking Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros backgrounds, you also gain more spells and powers. So I'm probably gonna have to modify that because it's too much. Too much coming from the subclasses. So we'll fix that. But for now, let's work on the Warrior of Mercy. So, Warrior of Mercy, Chef, feat, good. Poisoner, Chef, Poisoner, feat, good. Life Stealing Strike is second rank. Breath of Life is first rank. Curse of Enfeeblement, I think Curse of Enfeeblement is still a second rank. Where did you go? Hold on. Yeah, third. Curse of Enfeeblement. Curse the target you seal deal half damage with weapon attacks until you succeed a strength check. Yeah, good. Strange Metabolism. I think that's still second rank sustained. It might. Let's double check. Strange Metabolism, second. There you go. While sustaining this power, you are immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, as a bonus action, you can make an unarmed attack that deals 1 power die plus your strength and dexterity modifier of poison damage, and the creature is poisoned until it succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Adaptive Resistance, we looked at that earlier, so that's 1. Lethargy is maneuver 2. Lethargy, intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it can't take reactions until the beginning of its next turn, and during its next turn, it can only take an action or a bonus action. But it still has movement. Adaptive Resistance, Lethargy, Resilient Save, and Rite of Revival. We saw Rite of Revival already, so Resilient Save, Exploit 3. Let's see it. Resilient Save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if the save succeeds, you take none, or half if you fail. It's basically evasion for any ability check. Or any saving throw. So Resilient Save, you slap it on when you make a saving throw. It costs you 3 mana. It could potentially save your life. Might be worth. And Rite of Revival, you regain hit points instead of dying when you hit 0 hit points. All right, let's look at it. Hand of Harm. You can deal necrotic damage when you hit with a monk weapon, and you can add your channeling ability modifier to the damage. Hand of Healing. Let's see. First rank maneuver, which means that you can pay it down to 0 cost, and you could use it either as a magic action and a bonus action twice in the same turn if you want. So Hand of Healing, first rank maneuver. You can touch a creature or yourself and heal a number of hit points equal to the result of 1 power die per mana expended plus your channeling modifier. It's a first rank maneuver, so it's going to cost you 1 mana to use it, but you can expend action economy to make it free if you choose. So like I could give up, like I could take the attack action and give up my attack to generate a free point to then use my bonus action to give you free healing, for instance. Implements of Mercy, gain proficiency to Insight and Medicine skills and proficiency in the Herbalism kit. Level 6. Physician's Touch. Your Hand of Healing feature improves. When you use the Hand of Healing maneuver, you can also remove one of the following conditions: blind, deaf, paralyzed, stunned. Nice. That's at level 6. Okay. Level 11, Flurry of Healing and Harm. Your Hand of Harm. Okay, so keep in mind, if you spend 2 mana, you can make 3 attacks. When you deal necrotic damage, when you spend 1 mana, you can make 3 attacks as a bonus action. So when you deal necrotic damage with a weapon, with a monk weapon attack, the target is poisoned until the end of its next turn. And we can always deal necrotic damage. We already looked at that. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace any number of the attacks with the Hand of Healing feature, generating 1 point of temporary mana with each attack used this way. So we can use Hand of Healing for free. Normally it would cost us 1 mana to do it, but we can use it 3 times. It costs nothing. Power die plus mana expended plus your channeling modifier, and it removes one of these conditions. And I can do it 3 times per round by only spending 1 mana. That's crazy good value, but that's a subclass for you. Hand of Ultimate Mercy as a magic action. You can expend 5 mana and touch the corpse of a creature that's died in 24 hours. The creature returns to life with a number of hit points, 5d12, plus your channeling ability modifier. Once you use this feature, can't use it again until you finish a long rest or expend 5 mana from your own pool. No action required. There you go. That was easy. So, I mean, that was super easy. I feel nothing wrong with that. That's a lot of fun. We'll see soon enough if that Hand of Healing is overtuned. But I don't think it will be. It should be fine. Warrior Shadow is Impair. I think Impair still exists as a mastery. Let's go down and check it out. Again, combat masteries are proficiency, or basically prepared weapon masteries that you could use with different weapons. You can automatically, without knowing it, you can use, like if you know how to use a weapon, you automatically know how to use this mastery. But you can prepare masteries separately to use with weapon attacks if you wish. So like with this system, like you could disarm with any weapon. Disarm is normally not, like the one with asterisks exists inside of the player's handbook already, key to specific weapons. But like as long as you're wielding light weapons or natural, Nick works with natural and unarmed attacks as well as dual wielding light weapons. So if I'm wielding a light weapon and I have a natural attack, like a Minotaur, for example, like a knife wielding Minotaur, I could use Nick with my horns. I could attack with my dagger and then use Nick to trigger an attack from my horns. But when I use a mastery, I can't use a power with it. I can't use a strike power to ramp damage and cause conditions. These are cantrip-like conditions that don't deal extra damage but don't cost any mana to do it either. So Impair. Does Impair still exist? No, we got rid of Impair because it was too good, because it blinded people, and that's too much value for a cantrip. So we're going to change that to Addle. Addle is target makes a Constitution saving throw or cannot make opportunity attacks until the end of their next turn. So Addle, that's actually a really good Warrior Shadow. That's actually a pretty good Shadow ability. Impair made sense because of blindness, but I think Addle works really well too. Actually, maybe Sap works better. Let's use Sap because that gives targets disadvantage. I like that. Skulker is a feat. That's good. Blind Sense is first rank sustained. Vanish has become an exploit. I think it's a second rank exploit now. Let's check it out. Let's check it out together. I actually like Vanish a lot. Hold on. It costs 2. You could learn it twice to reduce the cost to 1, and then you could expend action economy to make it free during combat. When you take the hide action, which for it could be a hide action is normally a normal action to use. Rogue can use it as a bonus action. For a monk, it's not the most efficient, but when you take the hide action, you can do so even if you don't have any cover to hide behind. And the minimum result of your hide check is going to be 15, which is the minimum required to successfully hide anyway. So you automatically succeed in hiding, even if the die rolls result is lower, and you can remain hidden this way, even if you aren't behind an object that can conceal you until the beginning of your next turn. So you can walk up and you can stab somebody, and you're still hidden. And if you can get back to cover at the end of your turn, you're good. This only lasts Let's see. When you take the hide action, you can do so, even if you don't have. And as long as you remain hidden, it stays active. But as soon as you need to hide again, you can use Vanish again to ramp your ability to hide. This solves almost all the problems that people have with the 5e hiding ability of it being ambiguous and when I'm invisible, am I hiding or not? This resolves almost all of that. And what is it? It's second. That's right. So Vanish is now exploit 2. But like I said, we could buy it down to being free if we're willing to expend action economy. Subtle channeling. That is first rank, no visual effect. Blinding strike, we looked at that. Second rank strike. Flicker pounce. Let's look at flicker pounce real quick. It's cool. Flicker pounce. Flicker pounce is either an action, it's a magic action, a bonus action. You can do it twice if you want in the same round. So you can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see and attack a creature within reach of your melee weapon that you can see. If the attack succeeds, you can choose to teleport back to your original position. If the attack fails, you don't teleport the second time. So I can do this twice in the same turn if I'm willing to burn the mana to do it. Empowered Synergy, exploit 2. I think it's still exploit 2. Yeah, when you channel a maneuver or a sustained power. Okay, so like for example, a maneuver. Flicker Pounce is a maneuver, right? So when I use Flicker Pounce, I can teleport, attack, use Empowered Synergy to attack again. You can make a weapon attack with advantage as part of channeling that maneuver. This attack can be made before, after, or while you channel the power. So I could use Flicker Strike, teleport to a target, attack it again, and if I hit, teleport back. It'll cost me 5 mana to do it, but fuck, that's cool. That's very, if you're familiar with the Telfamar Shadow Pouncer from 3rd edition Prestige classes, I love the Telfamar Shadow Pouncer. Flicker Pounce is my love letter to the Telfamar Shadow Pouncer. Fucking awesome. So fucking awesome. Alright, Empowered Synergy is super cool. Assassinating damage. It deals maximum damage instead of rolling dice. And then Ghost Walker lets you walk through walls and shit. That's all good. Ooh, wait. There was a UA for this, wasn't there? It was the horror one, wasn't it? Well, I guess not. Or was it the Forgotten Realms? That is a negative Ghost Rider. Okay, so let's stick with it. Yeah, Warrior Shadow. Darkness. As a maneuver, again, you can make it for free. You can use it as an action, as a magic action or a bonus action twice in the same turn if you wanted to. You can expend 1 mana, create a 15-foot radius globe of darkness within 60 feet of you that dark vision and non-magical light cannot illuminate. When that dark vision cannot see through. And non-magical light cannot illuminate. When determining what level of light magic it can dispel, or that can be dispelled by it when their areas overlap, the effective level of darkness is equal to the max rank of power gained as a monk. 1 to 5. Equal to, you know what? I don't like that. Is equal to half your monk level. So it'll be 2 when you gain it, like a second level spell. And then at 19th level, it's 10. So it can always override any other unless you use like Wish or something to cast it. You can see within this globe of darkness, and you can move it to a space within 60 feet of yourself at the start of each of your turns. The effect remains up for 10 minutes, which you can dismiss during your turn. No action required. Dark Vision. You gain Dark Vision with a range of 60 feet. If you already have it, increase it to 60 feet. Shadowy Figment. You know the minor illusion cantrip using the channeling ability modifier, which could be strength, dex, or wisdom, your choice. Shadow Step 6. You gain the ability to step from one shadow into another. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. You then have advantage on the first melee attack you make before the end of the turn. Improve Shadow Step. 11. When you use Shadow Step as a kicker cost, you can expend 1 mana to ignore the requirement to start and end in dim light or darkness for that use of Shadow Step as part of the bonus action. So you basically use to ignore the requirement to start. We're going to either start or end in dim light or darkness for that use of Shadow Step as part of the bonus action. You can make a melee attack with a monk weapon immediately after you teleport. You gain advantage with an attack that you make before your turn. As part of the bonus action, you can make a melee attack with a monk weapon immediately after you teleport. Melee weapon, melee attack. Yeah, and you have advantage on it from level 6, so that stacks. Cloak of Shadow as a 3rd rank maneuver, so it costs 3. You can do it as a bonus action, magic action, or both twice. 3 mana, and it's considered a maneuver, so you can buy it down to 2 instead. Within dim light and rank, you can shroud yourself within shadows. If you enter bright light, this effect is immediately dismissed. While you remain shrouded in shadows, this way you gain the following benefits. You're invisible. You can move through occupied spaces as if they were difficult terrain. If you end your turn in space, you're shunted to the last unoccupied space you were in. No damage. Shadow Flurry. You can use Flurry of Blows without expending mana while you're in darkness. That is fantastic. And where are we at? 8 o'clock? Let's get through these. And then we'll have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Jesus, 7. I've forgotten how many subclasses there are. Let's get through these last 2 subclasses for the ones that graduated to 2024 already, and then we'll stop for the day. Wednesday, tomorrow when we come back, we'll try to knock down 2 or 3 more subclasses during lunch. Tomorrow we only have about an hour, so we're not going to get far. And then Thursday, after we play Shadow Dark with the team, we'll do 2 or 3, maybe 4. And then by Friday, certainly we'll have them done, which means we can start the Ranger next week. This is going good. We're doing one of these per week. I'm happy about that. So let's keep it up. Warrior of the Elements. Bonus powers, adaptive resistance, yes. Empowered ability still there. Rush attack still exists. Dire impact is gone. Let's replace it with Thicket of Blades. Deadly presence, we already have deadly presence. Empowered synergy, bring it on. Bursting strike, confirmed. Curse of exposure, yes. Indestructible, confirmed. Resilient save, yes. Deadly presence replaces dire impact. Warrior of the Elements. I need to pick up. You also gain a flying swim speed. Okay. We gotta go. Let's go find. Okay, so we need abilities. Let's go find. Let's see what the class does, and then we'll come back and we'll add a new power based on what we have in here. So, Elemental Attunement. When you take this Architect at 3rd level, you can channel Elemental Attunement as a 1st rank sustained power. While sustained, you can choose to increase the reach of your unarmed attacks and natural weapons by 10 feet. And deal elemental damage instead of your normal weapon damage types from the list below: acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. You can change the damage type each time you hit with an attack this way. In addition, as unique combat mastery, you can move the target 10 feet towards or away from you. Manipulate elements. You learn the Elementalist cantrip. Elemental attunement. Oh yeah. First rank power. You can increase your reach and deal damage. That's right. And you gain the okay. So this is a sustained effect that ties up your first rank of power. There you go. I'm up to speed now. This is the risk of being tired. Forgive me. Elemental burst. You can channel Elemental Burst as a second rank maneuver action, bonus action, both in the same turn. Dealing an amount of damage equal to 1 power die per mana expended this way, which is going to be a minimum of 2 because it's the second rank power, but you could ramp it up to 5 at 17th. You can choose Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Thunder damage to all creatures in a 20-foot radius of a location up to 120 feet away. Long lob. Creatures within the area effect can dex save or half damage. Stride of the elements is 11th level. Sustaining elemental attunement. While sustaining elemental attunement here, first rank, I can also gain a flying swimsuit. So for 1 mana, by 11th level, for 1 mana, I gain flying speed as well. That's sweet. Elemental epitome. While sustaining elemental attunement above, it's only a first rank power, but now it's a second rank power. My speed increases an additional 20 feet, and I gain resistance to 1 type of damage. And I can change which element I'm resistant to every turn as a reaction. That's sweet. In addition, while sustaining this power, you deal an extra power die of damage when you deal your chosen elemental damage type with your monk weapons. This extra die can be added to any additional power dice rolled when you channel a strike power. So just ramping an extra die. And then, while sustaining elemental attunement for 2 mana up above as listed, you gain the benefit of the overrun exploit, which we talked about, walking through people and dealing damage, dealing 1 power die of acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. You can spend additional. This is very much like Avatar. Like what was her name? Was it? It wasn't Asuka. The sister, the insane sister, the firebender. She could run along the ground and leave sparks of fire behind her. Same sort of thing here. Using this system, you can really lean into the Avatar gameplay in 5e. Very much use elements as your core mechanics. Hey, Steve, it's good to see you. Yeah, that's fucking fat. And then the last one we'll do for the night, Warrior of the Open Hand. And this will be the last of the Forsaken last of the graduated subclasses that made the 2024 cut. And then tomorrow we'll come back and start working on the Forsaken subclasses that did not graduate from 2014. We'll get them all there. So, lastly, Open Hand, bonus powers, close quarter combat confirm, mobile confirm, regeneration is yes, grappling strike, yes, blind sense, yes, deflection, yes, opportunist, yes, restraining hold, yes, moving target, yes, hypertonistic, yes. Okay. Open hand techniques. So, we already get grapple and topple for free because we're a monk, period. There's a total of 12 masteries that we've added. The 7 masteries from the player's handbook plus 5 more. Here we are. Addle, cleave, disarm, grapple, graze, nick, push, sap, slow, step, topple, vex. 12. So we get topple and push automatically. No, topple and grapple automatically. And then, starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can choose 2 combat masteries to add to your list of prepared powers, and you increase the number of additional combat masteries prepared as you gain more levels. So, Open Hand is very much a Shaolin. Get all sorts of stuff. Hold on. I was supposed to find an additional power for Warrior of the Elements, and we skipped it. So, let's go back. Let's find that power. We already have damage type, so we don't need that. Do we have indestructible already? Yeah. Tremor sense isn't horrible. Tired. Fast, instant skill. Extend reach. Crouching stance, close quarter, cliff runner, blind sense, aquatic anatomy, adaptive resistance. We have that already, right? Yeah. Knockout, banishing, staggering, provoking, bursting, restraining, like stealing, blinding, dazing, axiom. Elementalist, element something, elements. Fate Spinner, Defense, Curse of Exposure, Anchor, Roll of the Hit, Saving Grace, Redirect, Moving Target, Empower Ally, Curse of the Fallen Puppet, Countering Attack, Retaliate, Reposition, Interpose, Feint, Downtrodden, Deflection, Controlled Fall, Bait and Switch. Elementals, huh? Saving Grace, Anchor, Curse of Exposure, Defense Barrier. I'm looking. I don't like any of the strikes. Oh, Martial Strike. No, yeah, no, yeah, no. Nah. There's gotta be here. There's gotta be something in here for us. We'll find it. Hold on. Oh, Aquatic Anatomy. That makes sense. Aquatic Anatomy. While sustaining this power, you can breathe water and gain swim speed, double your normal speed. In addition, you have no penalties to melee attack rolls from attacking underwater. Conditional but useful. There you go. Good, we did it. Conditional but useful. There you go. Good. Back to the open hand. Okay, so starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can choose 2 combat masteries to add to your list of prepared powers. And you increase the number of additional combat masteries prepared as you gain more levels, as listed below. By 17th level, you have a total of 6 extra, plus you have Topple, Grapple. That's 2. This will take you to 8 out of the 12. High value there. Wholeness of body. You can heal yourself as a maneuver, rolling a number of power dice equal to the mana spent this way, gaining that many hit points. You can also spend hit dice while doing so, expanding a number of hit dice up to the maximum rank of power gained as a monk. At 6th level, that's 2. Heal yourself as a maneuver. So I can get 1 die for free, but it's going to cost me action economy. Might not be worth it at low levels. Pow! First, Fleet Step. When you use any bonus action other than Step of the Wind, you gain an additional bonus action to use Step of the Wind before, during, or after the chosen bonus action. Love that. That's from Raw. That's just Raw from the Player's Handbook, but they do cool stuff now. PHP really bends the rules on stuff and gives you just like extra. Quivering Palm, 17. Gain the ability to set up lethal vibrations in somebody's body. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend 4 mana as a strike power to start these imperceptible vibrations. I'm not going to make it a strike power. You can spend. You can expend 4 mana. The action, the damage economy is too good for it to be free. 10d12 for free, that's too much. Which lasts for a number of days, equal to your monk level. Vibrations are harmless unless you trigger the vibration to end them as an action. Or if you take the attack action, one of the attacks. So to do so, you and the target must be on the same plane of existence. And you trigger the vibrations, con save, or take half if successful. You can have only 1 creature under the effect of this feature at a time. You can choose to end the vibrations harmlessly without using an action. There you go. So those are the graduated monk subclasses that are in the 2024 book. I'm yawning a lot and starting to kind of blank out. So that is indication I need to stop before trouble. So I'm going to stop before there's trouble. Yeah. And so tomorrow we're going to come back at lunch, and we're going to work on the Forsaken Monk classes. We'll work on Ascended Dragon, as well as Astral Self. That we might not have additional time, but if we do, we'll hit the Drunken Master. By Friday, we'll be done with the Monk, and we'll start in on Ranger next week. Again, most of these features here, as you saw, we had to do a couple tweaking, because we continue to play test. We swap masteries and powers around a little bit, so they have to be updated, and our sensibility of what's balanced increases, so we know how to change the language on the subclass features so that they're still compliant with the 5e24 game engine, but matches the sensibility of where the martial power system is taking us to be comparable in power to full casters at the appropriate levels of power. So this is looking really good. And we're going to go ahead and cut stream here. Man, I really appreciate all y'all are here. I'm here 9 times per week. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to continue working on a Bob Ross painting for the Eberron campaign setting, a pine forest in the mountain scene in the Carnwood. So you can watch me doing artwork Monday through Friday in the morning if you're interested in watching digital painting. And again, I do game design Mondays, Thursday nights, Tuesday, Friday lunches. On Saturday, I do play testing on my Discord channel. All this stuff is linked down below. All the books I have published are all 100% free preview. You're welcome to check them out. If you want to encourage similar behavior to one of the books that you like, consider buying it. To let me know that that's a book that people are voting to see more information about, or that sort of idea, I'm happy to dump into it. You're always welcome to reach out and ask me any questions. I'm pretty approachable. Drop into my Discord if you're interested. Drop some comments here into chat if you want. And I'll be back in the morning. So I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you then. Thank you.